First question on the review is a multiple choice question. They're asking for the domain of the function, and your paper copy, it's worded a little bit differently, but it's the same problem. Find the domain. The domain are the x values that work in that expression or in that function. And the domain is usually all real numbers, but when we have rational expressions or rational functions where we have a numerator and a denominator, the denominator cannot equal 0. So where would 3 minus x equal 0? If we added x to both sides, we're adding x to both sides. If we added x to both sides, 3 would be the x value that would make that work. So 3 minus 3 is 0. 3 is the value that x cannot be because that would create a 0 on the bottom of that expression, function, whatever. Simplify the rational expression, leave your answer in factored form. We need to factor the top, factor the bottom. So first we factor the top, and I look at those three terms and I think, what do those three terms have in common? They have a 2 in common. So we factor the 2 out. 2x squared, pull the 2 out, you're left with x squared. Negative 8x divided by 2 is negative 4x, and 42 divided by 2 is negative 21. On the bottom, we have simply x minus 7. Now we need to factor this part even more. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 21. Those same numbers have to add up to negative 4. 21, we can do 1 times 21. We can do 3 times 7 would work. If it's 3 and negative 7. So that top part factors into x plus 3x minus 7. And there's a 2 in front of that. And on the bottom, we still have that x minus 7. So the x minus 7 on the bottom cancels out the x minus 7 on the top. And our final answer is 2 times the quantity x plus 3. And what it means is leave your answer like this. Don't multiply it back together. That's just doing more work that you don't need to do. Now on this math keyboard, you can use your keyboard or you can use these buttons to do this problem. You need to punch in 2 parentheses, x plus 3, and then it automatically closes your parentheses for you. If you hit the parenthesis key again, it just does another set of parentheses, which we don't want. Make sure before you move on to the next question that what you have typed in looks like what you expect your answer to be. Make sure that nothing looks funky there. Multiply the expressions and simplify. This is one of those where we have to factor, 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 factor. So I'm going to start by factoring the top left. 3x squared and 12x, those have 3x in common. 3x squared divided by 3x is x. 12x divided by 3x is 4. The top right is just x minus 3. That can't be factored, so you just stick that in parentheses to hold the x and the minus 3 together. On the bottom, x squared minus 9, that's the difference of two squares. That factors into x plus 3, x minus 3. And then on the right side, the bottom right, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 20. Those same numbers need to add up to negative 1. That means those two numbers are really close to each other, like 4 and 5. 4 and negative 5. So x plus 4, x minus 5. Once you have factored all of the numerators and all of the denominators, now you're looking for common factors. So the x plus 4 on the top cancels out an x plus 4 on the bottom. X minus 3 on the top cancels out x minus 3 on the bottom. And we're left with 3x on the top. And on the bottom we have x plus 3 and x minus 5. Leave in factored form simply means leave your answer looking exactly like that. Don't multiply anything out. All right, you are going to want to start with the fraction button. So pretty much on the rest of these problems, your answer is going to look something like this. You want to start by pressing the fraction button. So press the fraction button so you have a top and a bottom. On the top, we want 3x. On the bottom, we want parentheses, x plus 3. And then you can click out of it or you can hit the right arrow to move outside of the parentheses. A new set of parentheses, x minus 5. Before you move on to the next question, I want you to look at what you have typed and make sure it looks like what you expect your answer to look like. This math type is only, it's only really good if you really pay attention to what you're doing. The nice thing is it does format this really nicely, so it doesn't look funky. If you type it in correctly, it should look the way that you would expect it to look, the way that you would write it on a piece of paper. Divide the expressions and simplify. Leave your answer in factored form. With division, remember we keep the first fraction the same. We change the sign to multiply, and we flip the second fraction. Now it's just like number 3. So we need to factor, 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 and then we can cancel. So if I factor this first part, x squared plus 2x minus 15, looking for two numbers that multiply to give me negative 15 and add up to 2. That would be negative 3 and 5. So x minus 3, x plus 5. On the right numerator, we have times 9x. Bottom left, we have 36x squared. Bottom right, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 6 and add up to negative 1. That would be 2 and 3. To make it a negative 1, the bigger number needs to be negative. So x plus 2, x minus 3. Once everything is factored, we play the cancel game. The x minus 3 cancels. The 9 and the 36. If you think about the fraction 9 over 36, that simplifies to the fraction 1/4, because you can do 9 divided by 9 to get 1 and 36 divided by 9 to get 4. So that becomes a 4 on the bottom. This x is going to cancel out one of these two x's, leaving you with just one x in the bottom. So what do we have left? We have x plus 5 on the top, and in the bottom we have the 4, the x, and the x plus 2. Leave it in factored form. That means type that in exactly as you see it. Oops, don't need that. Fraction button first. On the top, x plus 5. On the bottom, 4x, and then parentheses, x plus 2. Check to make sure your answer looks like you were expecting it to look. And you should be good to go. Okay, the subtraction problem. I'm going to start by writing this a little bit more spaced out. X squared minus 49. And that negative, it's minus 3. I would put the negative with the 3 over x squared plus 2x minus 35. Okay. You can change it to like plus a negative if you want to. You can put a plus in here if you want to, but really just get that negative attached to the 3. It will save you in the long run. Okay, we need to factor. So x squared minus 49 factors into x plus 7, x minus 7. Okay. And over here, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us negative 35 and add up to 2. And add up to 2. That would be 5 and 7. So negative 5 and 7. So x minus 5, x plus 7. Okay, get some highlighters here. Both of them already have x plus 7. So that's good. Those match. The one on the right has x minus 5, so the one on the left needs an x minus 5. So we need to put an x minus 5 on the bottom and the top so that now both pieces have a denominator factor of x minus 5. The one on the left has x minus 7, so the one on the right needs it. And you can't just stick it in there. you have to multiply it on the bottom and on the top. Ooh, that color might not be very good, but that's okay. All right, so now our common denominator is x plus 7, x minus 7, x minus 5. All three of them have a yellow, a blue, and a green piece. So the denominators match. On the top, we have x times x minus 5. We can distribute. That's x squared minus 5x. And then negative 3x and positive 21. Now, why in the world am I saying, yes, multiply this one out when we haven't multiplied any of the others out? Because you have like terms here. When you multiply these out, we end up with these like terms in the middle, and we need to combine those to see if we can then factor it and cancel more stuff out. So I combine those like terms, and I have x squared minus 8x plus 21 over x plus 7, x minus 7, x minus 5. We need to try to factor this top part. We're looking for two numbers that multiply to give us 21 and add up to negative 8. The only numbers that multiply to give us 21 are 1 times 21 and 3 times 7. Neither of those would give us negative 8 if we added them together. So this is not factorable. This is how our answer should be written. It says leave in factored form. That's really talking about the denominator. Don't try to multiply that denominator back in together. Leave that as it is. But you can, you do have to multiply these numerator pieces together so that you can see if the resulting trinomial will factor. Again, when you're typing in your answer, you want to start with the fraction button, x, exponent button, square. Right now, if I keep typing, we're stuck in the exponent. We don't want to be stuck in the exponent. Push the right arrow to get down out of the exponent. Minus 8x plus 21. On the bottom, parentheses, x plus 7. Right arrow to get out of those parentheses. New set of parentheses, x minus 7. Right arrow to get out of the parentheses. New set of parentheses, x minus 5. Now this system is set up so that if you put those parentheses in a different order, it will count that answer as correct. So the order of the factors in your denominator does not matter. What matters is that you have 3 sets of parentheses, one of them with a plus 7, one of them with a minus 7, and one of them with a minus 5. Okay. After you go through those 5 questions, it will say you have reached the end of this section. You cannot change your answers once you leave this section. So you may want to say, stay on this question, and you may want to review and make sure that you have done all 5 questions before you go on to the next section. So even on the test, there are going to be 5 questions and then a second section. Do not move on to that second section until you are sure that you're done with the first section. So go on to the next question. This is where you're going to submit a photo of your work. So you click this paperclip that activates your camera, and then you can take a picture. Then you'll answer this question. And honestly, this is just, you need to answer this question. But what grade do you think you got on this test? I definitely think I got an A on this test. I mean, you know. So I'm going to click the paperclip. If your teacher wants you to show work, hi, that's me. If your teacher wants you to show work, take a picture of it using your webcam. And I don't know if there's a way to switch which camera you use, but you would just hold your work up, try to get it all in there. I guess if, yeah, but this is weird, but yeah, get your work in there as clearly as possible so that we can definitely see all of your work. Take a picture. And then you can click attach to use this picture or back to retake. So I'm going to say attach to question. You could, I believe, you've added one attachment, back to webcam. You could take multiple pictures. So if you wanted to make it clear, you could take multiple pictures. See, I'm running out of time, but you could take another picture and you could attach that to question, and then there's 2 attachments. So attach multiple if you want to, or just one. and then close the window.